This is Shades of Content, a podcast created for and featuring women of color who create and distribute content as a means to tell stories to the masses. I'm your host, Patrice Camo, owner of Camp Space, and I'm passionate about giving diverse women creators a space to be awesome. Let's go.
If you're new here, if this is your first time seeing a video from this platform, I'm Bre. I am the creator and founder of Influencer Society, as well as Bre Knows Best _ and Bre Islar Consulting. I am a digital strategist and an entrepreneur. I help small Black-owned business content creators and business owners up-level their platforms to grow their audiences on social media. And we are actually starting something new on Influencer Society where we have Queen Candid Chats, where we want to reach out to other content creators and, get some more information from them, get some insight, some encouragement, some tips when possible for helping other content creators grow their audiences here as well. And tonight we have Patrice of Shades of Content. She is a podcaster. She is also a mom, a wife, and an amazing entrepreneur. She is... I look up to you, Tree, since I was 14 years old. Like, I've known you since I was like a little kid, freshman in high school. Patrice was a senior.
I'm that much older than you?
No, it's not that much older.
Oh, God, that made me feel real old.
I was a freshman your senior year, though.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yep. So we go way back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now Tree is doing big things, and I couldn't think of another more amazing story and person to share this whole situation with. So go ahead and give us a little bit of information about who you are, your life. We see you're a mom because mom life is real.
My son is wilding out right now.
Okay. What's going on?
So I'm Patrice. I'm the owner of Camp Space, which is a content creator studio for women of color. It gives women of color in the DC area and hopefully beyond beautifully designed, private, affordable space to create their audio, photo, and video content. I am also the host and founder of Shades of Content, which is a podcast that tells the stories and highlights women of color content creators. And I just launched Shades of Content on March 19th, my son's birthday. That was right when the pandemic started. And it's really been a labor of love and something that I'm so happy I started. I was so nervous to do it. It took me 3 months, maybe longer than that, to actually get it out. I remember my stomach was hurting. I was so nervous. And I'm a mom and a wife first. So I just went off because my husband was calling me, and you're going to hear my kids. And so I'm going to try to, We got you,
sis. We got you. So while we have you, we want to go ahead and get into it so you can answer as many questions as possible. For anyone who's just coming on, tonight's conversation is about taking your creativity and using it to create opportunities for entrepreneurship. So as Trace mentioned, she is a podcaster as well as the owner of Camp Space, which is an actual location for content creators. So Trace knows a lot about, and I keep saying Trace, sorry. Patrice knows a lot about, the journey of becoming an entrepreneur. So the first question that I have for you is, what does entrepreneurship mean to you?
Sure. So, I think that word entrepreneur, I don't want to say it's overused, but you hear it all the time now.
Agree.
Right? First it was side hustler, now it's I'm an entrepreneur. For me, it's about creating something that can be shared with the world. So I really do believe that we all have something in us intrinsically that can be taken out, created, or cultivated, and then sold to the masses for a profit, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. And so I believe that everybody should tap into that. Number one, because who doesn't want to make money? If there's a way that you can do something that's natural to yourself or that you're really good at to make money, why wouldn't you?
Right.
But also for me, especially as I get older and as I watch my kids grow, it's about more than just me and what I am doing right now. It's about what my legacy is once I leave.
Yes.
So I'm not going to be here forever, but prayerfully, if I can leave a legacy for my kids, Camp Space and all the other things that I've created at some point, or the clients that I've worked with, will continue to kind of be my spirit once I'm gone. So that's what entrepreneurship means to me. I think at the very least, we should all be able to make our own money.
Yes.
If you haven't seen the importance of making your own money on your own terms now, then I don't know what it's going to take for you to see that.
100%.
But
100%.
It's imperative. We don't have a choice anymore.
I think my other question that I sent you was, why is entrepreneurship so important? And I think you just answered it. It's about the legacy and the importance of having something left for your family, even once you have departed. So I think that is 100% the name of the game for me. And it is another reason why I wanted to have this conversation here on this platform, because a lot of the women that we attract on this platform initially were looking at being influencers to make money by way of someone else. And what I'm so passionate about in encouraging women and open their eyes to see the opportunities that you have, like you said, intrinsically, to tap into your own magic and create opportunities that go far beyond a one-time maybe partnership or campaign or deal. Are those things great? Yes, but how can we really grow something that is organic to who we are and further cultivate opportunities for expansion and everything else as a result? So I don't want to talk because I really want to hear from you. So tell us, how did your journey actually end up with Camp Space? How did you start out? What's the story?
Yeah. So, I've always been, back to what you said, right? So in addition to entrepreneurship, leaving a legacy, it's also about who you can help.
Yes.
It's also about who you can help, who you can serve. So, but for me, I think I've always been get it, figure it out type of person. In high school, for my 16th birthday, and I didn't really think about this until I started the podcast and had to have different episodes. For my 16th birthday, I didn't want a party. I told my mom that I wanted to have a shopping trip.
Wow.
And so I made all my friends pay $40, pay for the bus, and then all the profit was, plus whatever other money my mom gave me, was my shopping. That was my birthday gift. So I went to Woodbury for my birthday. Had all my friends with me. We were shopping. And then I did it again for our senior ski trip. And I did it again in college.
Okay.
So that was kind of the first venture into this making my own money, aside from having a job.
Right.
And then when I got my first job out of college, I was working at a big PR firm. And I was working on clients that I did not care about, like Dow Chemical, shit I didn't care about.
Right.
And at the same time, I had friends who were doing their own thing and were promoting. And I was like, well, you know what? Let me do your PR for you. And so for the first year or so, I was doing the PR for free. And that was to build my portfolio. And then that just grew and I had different clients. And I was offering my PR services. From doing PR, I learned that my clients didn't have local spaces to have events and to work. And that's where Camp Space came in. Camp Space started as a co-work studio. Yeah. It was a co-working space. And then I realized it's much more than that. And there was something else there. And that's when we, pivoted to be a content studio.
So tell us, how did you become a content creator? Because I saw you all of a sudden. I was like, okay, Trace.
I know. Okay. You just got to own it. I think I've always been a content creator. I've always been a writer. I've always been really well versed in social media. And looking back on my clients that I work with, as a publicist and a marketing person, I was always directing. I scripted YouTube videos 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? This is always what I've been doing, but I just didn't give myself that title of a content creator. Also, because that wasn't a thing. The word content is a phrase.
It's a real word.
It's a buzzword, right? So it was always something that I've done. But, now that I have my own space where I'm obviously serving other women content creators, I need to just own it too.
Yes.
And say that that's who I am and just live in that. And then with me having the podcast now also, that's a whole nother piece of content, a whole nother world that, that I'm in. And I think I'm always going to be that person, whether Instagram existed or not.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be creating things.
I would say for you, you were an influencer before being an influencer was a thing. I would 100% say that about you. 100% say that about you. Tell us a little bit more about Shades of Content.
Yeah, so I always, I love podcasts. I would always listen to podcasts, and I always knew that I had a good voice. And
Yeah.
I used to always be like, I'm gonna be on the radio one day, da 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 da, just as something that was fun to do. And in listening to podcasts and learning that I could too create something like this, I went and purchased a course. So Side Hustle Pro was a podcast that I listen to all the time. It was
Okay.
created by Nicaila Matthews Akome, and she has a coaching class for podcasts.
Okay.
So the first step in me owning that I wanted to have my own show was to invest in her class, and I put her in the comments. I'm really big on, take that back. I'm not going to say I'm really big on, because a lot of these coaches try to, not you in particular, but there's this coaching society where it's like you cannot progress if you don't pay. I don't
Oh
believe
yeah.
that. But I didn't know anything about starting a podcast. So I went
Mm-hmm.
ahead and signed up for her class because I didn't know anything about being a podcaster. I signed up for her class, and it's once you pay $1,000 or whatever you pay, once you invest, you better use it. And I was not going to let
Yes.
that money go to waste.
Yes.
So it took me about 3 months to really hone in on what I wanted to talk about. My
Mm-hmm.
initial podcast premise was totally different than what you hear today.
Okay.
But as I was talking through it, something just didn't feel right. And I'm happy I just slow walked it and
Mm-hmm.
waited for, God to tell me, as well as some conversations with women that I work with really closely. And then I realized that I could find, and I did a lot of research, there were no podcasts that only talk to and about women content creators of color.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made sense for me. And then in going in that way, then it was a very clear extension of my business, Camp Space.
Mm-hmm.
And Camp Space also had a podcast studio that I just put in.
Mm-hmm.
So I could very easily promote Camp Space through the podcast. And yeah, it's been great. Like, I love doing it. I didn't have a budget because I spent it all on the class. So
Right. Right.
I created the website myself. I went on Canva and created the logo myself.
Yes.
I send out all the emails to people. I was just pitching podcast sponsors today.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have, a lot of times I have goals for what I do, but this is just something that I want to put out there. I have set some metrics, like I want a certain number of downloads by a certain time, which
Right.
which I'm very happy about. But
Mm-hmm.
this is something that I'm just doing because it feels
Yeah.
good.
I love that. One of the things that I wanted us to really continue and doing post all of what has been going on in the world and all of what has been going on social media as it relates to the responses of it is just continuing the dialogue and actually shining a light on positive Black content creators, positive Black entrepreneurs, positive Black women entrepreneurs and content creators, and letting our audiences and masses know that we are here, and not only are we excelling at what it is that we do, but we also are willing to extend a hand to help someone else.
Yep.
So I want to know from you, what is it that you would like for non-Black followers who may come across any of your platforms or any of your content? What is it, something that you really want them to be able to take away?
So, I've thought about this a lot, especially in the current landscape of white businesses, non-people of color, wanting to figure out how to support us, and figure out how to be on our team. So I'm not in the mood to keep anybody that don't want to be kept, okay? And that was on a great movie called Poetic Justice. And so, but I do believe, and I know that Black women as a whole are just so beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I really do believe that we have the most well-rounded experience of life.
Yeah.
Like, Black women were breastfeeding the slave master's kids.
Speak on it.
Like, we're everything. Mm-hmm. We are every single thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't glean all the magic from just straight up looking at us or going to our profiles, then I don't really know what to tell you, because it's really clear all the power that we have. So yeah, I just, what do I want non-Black followers to learn? Always respect us. Don't ever doubt us, and stop stealing from us. They're not giving us credit.
Speak on things.
That's what I want. That's what I want to put out there. Always respect us. And I'm going to say it again. Don't ever doubt us, because Black women are just, again, every single thing. That's us. We are everything. And the world shows us over and over again how much they love us, because they, like I said, continuously take from us and not give us the credit. So stop doing that. And, have a conversation with us. Like, we're not mean people. We're not, we're not all that.
Yeah.
We're just well-rounded, whole beings that have seen and been through so much and continue to prevail. Right?
Yeah.
The number one demographic of small business owners are Black women. The number one demographic of college degrees are Black women. Like, what else is there? You know what I'm saying? So just show that respect and just respect it.
What are you intentional about including on a consistent basis in your business and in your content? I know about these things, and I'm sick that I'm all the way in Texas now, and I
wish you were here.
I'm so sad, but I want you to tell everyone else some things that you are very intentional about portraying in your content and in your business.
For sure. And by the way, you look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Just tell you that. That's why I really wish you were still here, but that's a whole nother conversation.
I know.
I think I've always been about authenticity and just like being you. And even that word authenticity can be a bad rap.
Yeah.
Like, I'm real. Nah, just be you. I think you can be a mom of 3 kids. You can be a wife. You can be a business owner. You can be a girlfriend. You can be all those things and still be you, because that is you.
Right.
And, you don't have to do what others say you have to do. You don't have to be what other people say you have to be. You don't have to be what your timeline says.
Yes.
Like, you really can create and push out what makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And whether that's 10 likes or 200 likes. I don't think any of that matters. I really think that you got to be real intentional about, like, standing real strong in who you are, right? This 10 toes down,
Period.
And not cave in. Like, just be who you are.
Yeah.
Like, just be who you are and appreciate those who love you for that.
Yeah.
And don't worry about all the other stuff. Like, I wrote an article for a well-known blog today, and it was about using your content to create change. And listen, when you start speaking that shit that people don't want to hear, you're going to lose some people.
Say it again.
That's okay.
Say it again.
When when you start talking and when you start saying things people don't want to hear, or when you start owning your power, or when you start, speaking about the blessings that God has given you, or when you start sharing your business, you're going to lose some people, and that's okay. That's not who it was for.
That's right.
So just be one with yourself. And I know that it's hard. Like, I think I'm, how old am I? I'm 36, and I am at an age where I knew what it was like before social media.
Right.
I feel for my little sisters, literally and figuratively, who this is their world.
This is all they know.
This is all they know. So this is hard. This is an interesting space to be in. I just hope that whatever I put out, I always try to put out love.
Yeah.
And being thankful and owning it. Because sometimes it ain't easy. Life is hard. But, you just got to be real with it,
Yeah. Tell us about your journey as it relates to entrepreneurship or the ownership of Camp Space. Like, what things were important values for you? I'm a person that stands on mission statements and having those and values, so that everything that comes from what I create will always go back to that. Yeah. So kind of tell us about why, or things that are values to you as it relates to Camp Space.
Yeah, well, in the beginning, I didn't have those values. They didn't exist.
Right? Yeah, they always come after the fact.
Yeah.
They always come after.
They always, and I think, part of, and I've shared this on the podcast, one of the last episode is called The Pivot, and it talks about why I decided to change the space from a co-work space to a content creator studio. But, once I made that change, aside from the powers that be, because I believe that your mission part of your mission is what you want to do, but I also believe the other part of your mission is like what God is calling you to, and what He's sending your way. So I got all these Black women coming into the space to create content, and it just so happens that those customers, I make more money off of them than I do this co-working stuff. I need to make some changes. So once I decided that, I just went ahead and went all the way in and said, you know what, this is going to be a space for women creatives of color. But then I had to bring it back to me and my personal mission. And so I think when I was a PR person, my personal mission was always to, you know, help people tell their stories. But I needed to kind of pivot that in, and I realized that I was most complete. I did the best work, and things just always aligned when I was helping people understand their influence and like figure out how to tell that and articulate it to the world so that they can, you know, live the life of their dreams. And through that, like, that's the goal of Camp Space. So you come to Camp Space, you're in a space where you can create all this amazing content that you can use to live your best life. You can make money from it. You can share it. You listen to the podcast. That's giving you firsthand tips from myself, from these women who have like blown it out the water and who I look up to, and anything else that I do. Even my PR clients, you know, I have a plant-based restaurant that I work with. And first it was just about like opening the restaurant, and then shout out to Gangster Vegan. I'm gonna put them in the because they're amazing. Shout out to Tania and her husband, who are the owners. They are an amazing restaurant that has a location in Baltimore, and they just opened one in Riverdale. But like at first it was just about getting these restaurants open, but Tania was undergoing chemotherapy when all of this was happening. And so she had the grand opening for a plant-based restaurant that she purposely was putting into these underserved communities, because food is really what's killing our Black people. Let's be clear. And then 2 weeks after that, she underwent a double mastectomy.
Hey, thanks for listening. How awesome would it be to have a tool that help you plan out 365 days worth of Black girl magic focused content? Super awesome, right? Well, no worries, because we created just that. The Black Girl Holiday Content Creator Companion is a calendar and coloring book that's filled with things that can help you plan out content that engages and empowers your audience. It includes over 450 Black woman-focused holidays, events, milestones, and more than 14 never-seen-before coloring pages to help you de-stress and decompress. It also includes quarterly writing prompts, social media goal trackers, and really countless ideas for your Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, podcasts, Pinterest, any type of content. You can figure it out using this planner. It's a must-have. So visit blackgirlholidays.com to get your copy today. A link is also in our show notes, of course. www.blackgirlholidays.com, because every day is a Black girl holiday.
Yeah, like, it was real. And so, you know, but at first it was just telling that story, but now it's like, okay, girlfriend, you're a brand at this point. So how can we use your influence and your very unique life to inspire people, but also to put you in position to just continue to thrive, be it engagements, be it all these other things. So, you know, that's my goal.
I love it.
Yeah, help people understand how their influence is powerful. And like you said, how you yourself can make money and live great. Brand partnerships are great, don't get me wrong. But
I really want us to, as Black women in a space that is hugely dominated by non-Black women in a lot of arenas, I really am so passionate about us thinking beyond just the partnerships with other brands and really finding ways, and maybe not just with other brands, but with brands who don't care about you, with brands whose goals and values are not in alignment with our communities, with our values, with what we are passionate about, with our health, our wellness, not, you know, interested in providing resources. Those types of things are important to me, and I want especially from Influencer Society, for the people, the women that come through here, to see like the opportunities are literally endless, but it has to be a self-discovery journey. It's something that will take time to really identify. And like you just said, like, you didn't have the mission at first. You know, at first I can speak for myself. At first, God gives you the job, and
Yes.
then the
Yes.
description comes later. Like at
Right.
first, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna move, but like, what does this movement
What?
look
Yes.
like?
Yes.
And sometimes if you're not careful, you move too quick, and it's things that will become a part of the process that were not even intended in the first place, And so finding that place where what I preach the most to the women that I work with is the confidence
Right.
to own it first. Because
That's
once you own it within yourself, you are so unapologetic in the pursuit of the greatness that comes with it, right?
That's
And so
it.
it's just like I'm always like, I'm in this place where I'm like, I can't be the only one who thinks like this. Like
It's
somebody else
all
gotta.
confidence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's all confidence and faith because, a part of, can you go upstairs? A part of me waiting to launch the podcast or waiting to launch my website, there is no reason why it took me so long to launch my website, which is still nowhere near where I wanted to be. Seeing as though all these websites I'm associated with, I did it myself. There's no reason, but I was nervous. I wasn't confident. I didn't trust. What God was putting in my heart. So, and listen, I think, and I hope I don't offend anybody. I think Black women go through that a lot because the world has told us
so much other
so many
stuff.
ways that we're not worthy. And so, I hope that the things that I put out into the world just continue to help elevate us so that we continue to just keep going. Yeah.
What advice would you offer to other creators who have ideas for entrepreneurship, opportunities, but they just don't really know how to get it going?
Yeah, I think you gotta be still for a second and listen. I think the world we live in now is like go, 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 go. I gotta get this out, I gotta get this out. But I think there's a very healthy or very fine balance between listening so that you're doing the right thing and procrastinating.
Yeah.
So you don't want to just sit around and wait, right? Because done is better than perfect. But you also got to make sure, like, strategically it makes sense. And at the very least, not even at the very least, at the very most, keep creating.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know what
the direction.
If you don't know the direction, that's okay. Keep putting out what feels good. The more you put out, the more you do, it just keeps getting better and better. The more eyes that see it, your audience is going to tell you what they like, what you don't like. They'll kind of figure it out for you. So yeah, like just begin to carve out your voice and stake your claim in whatever your unique space is. And that's what's going to resonate. Whatever is meant to be is what's going to stick. So, just trust that. And I think that's where you see the fruits of your labor start to take shape.
Yeah.
So just don't quit. Like just keep going, and like don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, I would say to piggyback on all of that, also be willing to invest. I think that was something that you said that hit home for me, even because like you, the things that people are seeing me doing now are things that I've been doing for a very, very long time. But what I never did was charge. It was never a charge associated with it. Like, oh, Bre knows how to do such and such, call Bre. Oh, Bre can do XYZ, call Bre. And when I would have these opportunities to work with different clients or businesses or whatever, and sometimes they would say, so how much you charge? I'm like, it's okay. It's fine.
It's not actually, fine. It's not
yes. Fine. And but you know what? I didn't understand the value of an investment until I made one first. That's right. Once I started paying thousands of dollars to coaches and for courses and for resources, oh, y'all gotta hit me back. I need my money back.
I need my coins back. Okay.
Exactly. So I think I would say all the things that you said, and then also to invest. There is something to be said about someone who is even able to identify within themselves that they need help, right? Because everyone is not going to be successful in the DIY. Like we were able to figure it out. It took us a long time. But how much more time could I have saved had I just, paid the money and had
somebody that
way.
And even, even with that, I think like strategy, that have a budget with I'm going to spend this amount of money, this is what I have, and then I'm going to act. Like, because, sometimes people get like, they just class after class after class, and they got nothing to show for it. So, you know, again, another healthy balance. Part of it is what you're learning, what you're investing in, but the other part is you do have to act at some point.
Application.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't talk about where Camp Space is. For anyone who may see the replay of this later, you know, is in the DMV, who,
Yes.
you know, give them some
It's
information
home.
about it. Yes.
Yeah, so it's right outside of Washington, D.C. It's probably about 5 minutes driving in Hyattsville, Maryland, which is a very cute city. Again, 5 minutes from Washington, D.C. And, you know, I went to University of Maryland, which is in College Park, maybe 10 minutes from where my business is. And I've always liked this area, so I decided to just open my business there. And my goal is so even when camp was a co-working space, it was always to serve people who live in suburban areas. Because if you go to DC, you have all these fun, the cities are lit. Like DC has every single thing. But literally where I live, the county I live in, Prince George's County, is across, like all you gotta do is walk across the street and you can be in DC. We didn't have any of that stuff.
Yep.
So that was the initial premise for me deciding to have my business in Prince George's County, which is also where I'm from.
Yes.
But, you know, prayerfully from my mouth to God's ears, there will be different camps in other you know, suburban cities, right? Like,
come on down.
We've been talking about this. Like, wherever,
been talking about it.
For real, like wherever there's a high concentration of Black women creators, Texas for sure, Dallas,
you already know.
Like Atlanta, right outside of LA, shout out to Issa. You know, like these spaces need to exist. And so that's the goal. That's the goal. Right now we're in Prince George's County, the gorgeous Prince George's, which is also one of the the richest Black county in the country.
In America.
So yeah, that's where we at.
The home team. Anyway, talk about some of the creators that have come through Camp Space. You know, I know about so many, and every time I see them, I'm just like, sad, you know, yawn. But talk about, you know, some of the queens that have come through there that have done some amazing things, created some beautiful content. I know a lot of the photographers come through. You host events there. So talk about some of that was going on before COVID, of course.
For sure, yeah. COVID, let me tell you, for half of March, all of April, all of May, no money. Thank God for grants. Thank God for side hustles that was able to cover it. But I mean, you know, some of the dopest Black women creators have
in the area.
Kalana Barfield, who's a huge fashion influencer. She and her daughter shot a Crest campaign there. Ty Alexander, who is a podcaster and DJ, a self-care advocate, has shot there. Lavondra, also known as Atypical Black Queen, has shot there a few times.
So if anyone is in the area, if you're in PG, you know, if you're in DC, even if you're like in Virginia, some places, come through and see the space. It is amazing. The opportunities are literally whatever you can imagine. And Therese will definitely be able to accommodate whatever, I'm positive, whatever comes out of there. Bre Knows Best is going to do something. We're going to come. I'm coming home. I'm going to come make a trip.
Come home to visit, and just all you need is an hour to get you some good shots.
I know. Every time. Oh, I put that wrong. I forgot the S. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Every time people ask, like, when are you going to come back and visit? It's like, my mom moved down here. Tony's mom moved down here. So we never we never thought, we were just like, okay, for what?
We're home.
Yeah, like this is it now. Texas is it. But I really do want to, I don't know, there's opportunity for us to host something or do something. Influencer Society could do something. But I would love to do that and come home and join some forces and make something amazing happen. What was I about to say? Who are some creators that you still would love to have come?
So Jamie Lynn Acker, her what is her Instagram? At the Jamie Lynn Show. She is an episode on the podcast called The Mommy. She's amazing. I love her content. She hasn't been to camp yet, but she's gonna come soon. A young lady by the name of Danye Taylor. She's from the DMV, but she's in LA now. She owns a digital branding and marketing agency, and she just gets it. Like, her content is just it's young, it's fresh. Like, I really rock with her. I've never met her, but we talked on email. I love her. Kay McCoy, also known as Cookie Monster.
Yes.
She's a photographer. She also has a page called Cookie Spaces, I believe.
Okay.
And she goes to really cool places. So I want her to come to camp at some point. I invested in her Instagram story class. It was really helpful. Her really beautiful, inspiring content. She's also based in LA. I have a love affair with LA. I hope one day to live on the West Coast. So anything LA vibes, I'm all for it. And then there's another young lady by the name of Brio. And it's BRI. I think it's a 0 WE.
Okay.
And when I tell you, I've never seen Instagram stories so, like, it's amazing what she does for these stories. I don't know how she be doing it, like, but I be feeling like I'm watching like a documentary when I'm looking at her stories.
Okay. Wow.
Like, I need to ask her to do a class at camp because I'm just blown away. She's from Baltimore. I don't know. I think she's in the DMV area, but like she's just, and I'm gonna try to put
if you don't have it, I was just gonna say, if you can, I'll email you so you can send me those names.
Okay.
And we can put it up on the page for other people to check them out too. That would be good.
She's dope.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm always finding, that's why I love what I do now with the space and the podcast, because like I can like stand people and just stalk them and then just have them work with them because I want to work with them. Yeah.
Exactly. So give me any tips for brand new content creators who are trying to get to even the beginning levels of success. Like, what things would you, I noticed that you talked about like the freshness in people's content and, things that are aesthetically appealing, even for you. So give us a little bit of tips about things that you notice that are, aesthetics actually do speak a lot to the growth
they
that you
do.
experience.
And it's so interesting. Like, I can tell everybody else what to do for their own stuff, but I still got to figure it out for myself. But what I will say is, even before aesthetics, I think you have to pay attention to the data, right? So pay attention to to the content that is resonating and that is getting the most engagement. That's like real basic level. If you don't have it, if your Instagram is personal, change it to business. All you have to do is create a business page, and then you'll be able to see your insights. Look at look at the posts that mean the most, right? And do more of that. Invest in like good photography. I'm not gonna say you have to get an iPhone, because you don't have to get an iPhone, because Androids take really good pictures. But like, long gone are the days of like fuzzy pictures and like just clear pictures, if you're able to like have photo shoots, then what you do is you have your photographer for an hour, get 4 or 5 looks in that hour. Yeah. Knock it out. I literally, whenever I have access to a photographer, let's say I'm having an event at camp I will pull the photographer aside and make sure he gets separate pictures of me that I wait until it's time to share those. But on my Dropbox, I have an arsenal of pictures that I can just pull from. Just pictures, so just be always like figuring out ways to store content, something as simple as having a folder in your phone, in your album of IG photos. So every time you get a good picture and you think it could work, even if you don't know how it can work right now, just put it in the album. Put it in the album. Boom. Yeah. And I would say the same for things like captions, right? So I'm learning through COVID, people don't really care to see me like doing home shit. Like, I thought they wanted to see that, but they don't, right? They're not coming to Patrice for no sitting in the house organizing my my spice rack. Right. I'm doing it, but they don't really care to see that. They'd much rather see me like bossing up, being cute in my space, hanging out with my kids, or like those are the things that work for me. So even if I want to like talk about how I fix my spice cabinet, that's not going to get the engagement. So it's no point in me. It's why waste my time doing it. Yeah. That content is great for my blog. Yeah. If it's something that I even decide to push out. So just pay attention to what the numbers are telling you and just do more of it. Yeah. That's it.
And be a student. Continue to always be a student. You're always, even for me, I don't really consider myself a coach. I do provide that type of guidance to the women that I work with, but I am always in pursuit of knowing more and learning more and, being a valuable resource to, further assist someone else. Because I feel like as soon as you come to a place where you think you have mastered everything and you know everything, social media is consistent, like
Always
constantly
changing.
innovating. So
Always.
you have to constantly, be willing to grow and learn with it. So I would say that too.
Yeah.
I
And
would.
this, one other thing, like, the beauty is in the process. So,
Yeah. Yes.
like, this should feel good. If you're at a point where, this social media game or this content game is like wearing you
A
down,
job like you don't want to do it anymore.
yeah, then you probably need to take a step back.
Yes.
It should be, we're not curing cancer. We're
Exactly.
not launching missiles into wherever. This is literally social media.
Creative.
It's creative. So, like, be real clear about that, and, like, don't let it take over. And remember, like, yes, these are people that we're touching, but this is digital. These are not the people that are sitting in your house. These are not my kids. These are not my mother. I really don't care about y'all when it really matters. So I think we have to make sure we're putting the right amount of time and weight into these kind of things, because it should be fun. Like, you should enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you wrapped up your first season of Shades of Content?
It's not season based. I'm just going to keep putting out episodes every other week.
Okay.
And I have some bonus ones that I throw in, every now and then. But yeah, it's not season based. It's just,
that's good. I like it better when you're going at a pace where I can keep up and I don't feel like I missed a whole journey. So
every other week. I got all these kids. I can't. It's hard.
Listen, when I left, there was one.
There was one,
and
he was like a little fat-faced boy.
Oh gosh. Tell us any new projects or anything that you have coming up that you're super excited about, or you want us to be on the lookout for.
Yes. So I am going to be releasing a survey for women content creators of color.
Okay.
I'm just if I want to be the authority on this space, then I need to, like, really understand how these women creators are feeling. I need to be able to take these facts and figures to larger entities to advocate for this group of women, to ensure that the resources are there, and just to ensure that we're being heard and better understood. So that's next, and it'll be a simple Google form that I've figured out, and I'm gonna send it out. I'm trying to think what else. Just more Shades of Content episodes. There'll be one releasing next week. Just listen. I take everything day by day. You can ask somebody else. You can ask somebody else that question. They got all these grandiose. I'm doing this. Like
100. Keep it real, wherever it is, because everything should be celebrated anyway. So
thank you.
Listen,
thank you, Bre. Everything matters, right?
Yeah.
We shouldn't be in it to have these big, grandiose
announcements
and announcements. Like, no, like, every single action moves the needle. And every single action should have just as much energy, whether it's considered small or big. It should all have that, the impact. Right. Exactly.
Yep. So anyway, that wasn't too bad. The kids did good.
They did good. They left. I was texting RJ, like, get these kids.
Well, tell RJ he did good. Thank you so much, Patrice, for being on here and chatting with us. You have to come back. We have to talk again, because I think that like I said, there's so much. I've always looked up to you. I've always been inspired by you. I've always, like, you were the fashionista in school. You were dope chick after. When you got married, I was obsessed. Like, I always kept in touch, Oh my gosh. And then to know, like, you come from, like, all of y'all dope. It's not even just Patrice, it's the whole crew, right? So it's always nice to be able to tell another Black woman, like, publicly, like, I celebrate you and I see you win. And those types of conversations are not always had, and if they are, they're not always genuine. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
there's not an underlying tone in the conversation. Like, no, sis, I see you. Keep going, keep pushing. What you're doing is necessary. There are other queens who need it. If I was still home, I would totally still be
I know you
there,
would. I know.
hands
I
on
know.
deck, holding on to help out. But of course, from Texas, anything that I can do, always hit me up. Let me know
I
how I
will.
can
And look,
support.
you fam, and I'm just proud of you. You know,
Oh,
like
thank you.
to step out, to move, and just like you're consistently just putting out great stuff and using what you're just inherently really great at in helping other
Thank you.
people. Whether it's helping them feel beautiful by giving them these beautiful faces, to sharing the knowledge that you've learned, to just being transparent about your story,
Yeah.
with somebody else's courage to tell their story.
Yeah.
Like, I see you too, girl.
Thank you, sister. I'm not going to hold you up here forever.
This
I
was
thank
great.
you
I'm
so
honored.
much.
Thank you. This was
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank y'all. I didn't see any
All
questions.
right.
Everyone was just like so glad that you said everything you said. They co-signed it. So thank you guys so much for being a part of the conversation. Stay tuned for the next one. Thank you to Patrice, Shades of
Bye.
Content. You guys check her out. Bye, ladies.
Shades of Content is brought to you by and recorded at Camp Space, a content creator studio for women of color. To learn more, visit www.campworkspace.com.